Hi guys, hi lovely people of this channel, Alexandra here again with another video. This time it is about barking. How do we stop excessive barking, and more specifically fence barking, like the thing where dogs either run at the fence to bark at other dogs that are being walked by, or just bark and run across the fence chasing joggers or cyclists, hikers, people just walking past. So how do we not stop, I would say, but how do we tone that right down? Because barking is, let's face it, an extremely natural behavior for our dogs. It is quite functional, has a function to alert other pack members, family group members, such as us, the owners, that there's someone there. And we might very well be willing to be alerted to that. I mean, personal anecdote here, the only time that I ever experienced my house getting burgled was back when we had and you see a beagle tail popping past here, so there'll always be that, sorry for that. So the only time our house got burgled was when we had a dog, a German Shepherd, by the name of Cora, beautiful working line German Shepherd, that was so docile that she would not bark at anyone for any reason. So people in the neighborhoods, word gets around, there's a dog there, but actually you don't have to worry, probably, the dog never barks, it's always docile, lets people pet her, and so forth. So our house got burgled, and the police came, and it was a whole thing. We got the guilty person was caught, and we got a financial reward. So all that was balanced out in the end. But nevertheless, any of you who had that happen before know this is an extremely unpleasant and intrusive thing to happen. So then we got Maya, a Strela mountain dog, who is the other extreme. She takes barking, alarm barking, alerting barking, defensive barking, and quite aggressive barking on the fence line to a whole new level. She's very, very venomous in doing that. If she thinks that the person out there on the other end, or the animal out there, wild animal out there, other dog out there, is a threat to her or us or the beagles. So she will, for example, I will just give you another anecdote to illustrate why this sort of fence barking, especially in rural regions or regions with a higher crime rate, or where you have good reason to be concerned about theft. Here we do actually as well have this reason to be concerned, because hunting dog theft is rampant in Portugal. I have beagles, a pair that looks very much like a functional breeding pair. The female is a retired breeding dog. She has the physical signs that indicate her as such, as a female who already had puppies, and people do not see it written on her face, I've been spayed, which she is. So Mikey, the male beagle, is a very much visible, intact male. So it would be quite easy for someone to hop the gate, snatch the beagles, who are quite docile and will go to everyone, and hand them to someone over the gate, and off they'd go. But like many beagle breeders in this country, in Portugal, have big mountain dogs, the Estrela mountain dogs, or they have the even bigger Transmontano mastiffs, or they have the Alentejo mastiffs, or the Castro Laboreiro cattle dogs, who are also quite an effective guardian breed, or the cow fila San Miguel, who is the Portuguese equivalent of the German Rottweiler, I would say, quite effective dog breed. They have those to protect their beagles or their hunting dogs, whatever hunting dogs they're breeding. Those who don't often end up in Facebook groups showing footage, surveillance footage, even if they have cameras surveying their breeding facilities, showing people with like hoodies, for instance, or big sunglasses and hats, breaking into their facility at night, stealing their dogs. And this is horrible for these dogs, because they may end up at a camp of certain ethnicities. I'm not racist here at all, so I'm not gonna name anything and say I know it all. It is just what I'm seeing on Facebook over and over and over again, and what the leading organizations in the country for animal welfare also communicate, and what GNR, our local police in Portugal, is also communicating. They regularly go in these camps, they secure dogs, hunting dogs who have their teeth filed off, hunting dogs who've been obviously tortured, they've obviously been neglected, they look like skeletons, they've been half-starved, they look awful. You see it documented, because GNR, the police has these pages, documentations about what happens with these dogs that were stolen. So extremely big problem, right? So I want my Estrella Mountain Dog to actively and aggressively be at the fence line, be present, show her presence, obviously not bite someone. She doesn't have the chance to, because we have a securely fenced in land around. So the gate is always locked, for instance. So she is out with the beagles at all times. Like even now, I'm filming a video. I can't supervise the beagles or see what someone else might be doing. There was one instance, I just want to tell you to further illustrate this. And I'll try to keep the video short, people, but please bear with me. This is important, I feel, to communicate, because many people think, let's just stop the barking, Alexandra, tell us how to stop the barking, and we just go away again. We'll get to that later on in the video, okay? I promise we'll get to that. And in the Facebook group, support group for dog owners, Force Free on Facebook, we will speak much more in detail. You can ask me any questions. If you're not joined yet, join. You're more than welcome. It's a private group. Your privacy is guaranteed there. We're not gonna make screenshots or share your information with anyone outside the group, so it can be totally open. But the anecdote why barking, defensive barking on a fence line is a good thing if you have any reason to be concerned about burglary or theft of maybe your other animals. You might have farm animals, you might have expensive purebred cats, even purebred whatever, goats, ponies, sheep. A priced ram, for instance, is a quite valuable, pricey thing here, also in Portugal, so people get those nicked. Those who have an Estrella Mountain Dog on the land won't. I can say that with some confidence, unless you have an extremely docile and timid Estrella, you will almost have a guarantee that people will see that and hear that barking, see that display of force, that show of force that the dog will provide, and they will choose someone else as their victim. Not ideal either, of course, but at least you and your family, your animals will be safe. So this one anecdote, I'm coming to it. In this summer, actually, a few months ago, we live very remotely, and we know all the people who come through here, who are neighbors, who live in the village nearby, we're between villages, so we're outside of those as well. But we know, and our guard dog knows these people, and if one of these people, the locals, the cow herders who pass through with their big herds, so they come and they say hi to the beagles, they can reach through the gate. We have like a rabbit fence, so cats and small dogs can't come in and out, but they can reach over that gate, they can pet those beagles. And my guard dog, the Estrella, Maya's her name, for better reference, she will stand back and bark at them, but just, you know, keeping an eye on them and wagging her tail, because she knows them, she knows they don't mean any harm. If I'm on the scene, I'll just say hi, and then I'll ask Maya to leave it, because the barking can be interrupting any conversation that me and that neighbor is trying to have, and that's fine then. So teaching leave it is the first clue here to stop unwanted barking. You say to the dog, okay, thank you, I've heard what you're alerting. This is not a situation that's a threat. I got it, I'm here, I'll take care of it, you just leave it for now, it's okay, be quiet, and she respects that. But this other instance, in summer, suddenly there was a group of men walking. I never seen these guys before. A group of men walking past our fence line very slowly, and I was observing this from a distance. They were not seeing me, so they were looking quite intently on the beagles, and the beagles, being the social butterflies they are, immediately ran to the fence line and wagged their little tails and looked up and put their paws up on the fence and wanted some attention and affection. And one of the people stuck his fingers through the fence and started petting a beagle. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that as such, because the beagles love all the attention they can soak up. But if it just been me there, I wouldn't have said a thing. I would just have said, hi, how are you doing? And maybe had a conversation with them, because that's usually what I do when someone is here. I have the time, I'm outside anyway, I have a nice chat. In this case, I just observed, because I didn't know these people, and they looked quite suspicious. I mean, what are you doing here? We live in the middle of nowhere, you're milling past here, and you're stopping, and you're quite intently focused on my beagles. So Maya was lying down nearby, so the people didn't see me or Maya the Estrela. Maya was observing the whole thing. She wasn't barking yet, she was just looking. And the moment, I swear, it was amazing. She's got eyes like a hawk, this dog. The moment one of the guys stuck his fingers through the fence, petting a beagle, Maya was up and at that fence in 2 seconds, and she angrily snapped her teeth at that guy, right at that guy's fingers, like so quick, it happened so fast. Look, I quickly obviously withdrew his hand. I was even shocked, I hadn't seen that venomous of a reaction coming. Then I made myself known. I walked up a bit more and said, "Hi, how you doing?" And the people quickly looked away, like pretended they hadn't heard or seen me, and they sped on, like really speed walking now away. And this to me confirmed that's quite a suspicious thing, because people here in the countryside are so friendly. Usually, even if Maya, the guard dog, barks at them, they will try and start a conversation with me or comment on how cute the beagles are. So that could have been an instance where someone was scanning for grabbing potentially a pair of breeding dogs and selling them, making money, selling my beagle puppies to be hunting dogs. And here in the country, hunting dogs are not the most well-kept dogs, let's just put it this way. It's quite alarming, the lack of animal welfare laws being enforced here in Portugal. So it's an extremely bad idea to have your dog stolen. You might well never find them again, or you might find them 10 years later, totally destroyed, half dead, cast out on the road when people can't any longer use them for breeding, right? This happens to people in Spain and in Portugal. Dogs go across the borders, and then if the owner is lucky, if you can even call it that, a few years after the theft, they find their dogs on one of these Facebook pages looking like a horrible shell of their former self, having been abused for hunting and breeding for years. So it's an extremely valid reason to have a good guard dog that barks. Now, part 2 of the video. How do you stop excessive barking? How do you do this with force-free methods also? Because if you know anything about me, I used to be a balance trainer. I used to work for Garrett Wing at DIY Canine, American Standard Dog Training, as well as Will Atherton now it's Will Atherton Dog Training, used to be Fenrir Canine Leaders. Both of these businesses are balanced, dedicated balanced dog training businesses. I no longer am a follower and advocate for balance training. I've become a crossover trainer, hopped across the fence, so to speak, into the force-free camp, and since then I'm what I am now, advocating for force-free methods. So how can we with force-free methods stop barking? First of all, I would say acknowledge the barking. It's it's a natural behavior for your dog. Acknowledge it, but also teach your dog, condition your dog to understand that mom or dad, whatever, is here now. They have heard me voice my concern that there's someone at the door, or there's someone at the fence line, or there's someone ringing at the doorbell, or someone is in their car, has their car parked in front of our house just now. My owners heard it, my guardians heard this, so I can chill, I can relax, because she or he, the owner or guardian, however you want to call dog owner, different pet parent, whatever, different expressions. I will just say owner for the sake of brevity. So if the owner has taken over the situation, conveying to the dog, okay, I'm in charge, I can handle it, thanks, you can, and then fill in the blank, you can. So you can shut up. It's what most people want to say at this point. You can be quiet, but you should also ideally direct the dog to another constructive behavior. So what I like to do, say I want to have a conversation with someone, or someone is delivering a packet and I want to receive the packet without my dogs jumping and running in between us, because people here, they put the packet, we have a conversation, and then they might hand the package, depending on its size, over the gate, over the fence or something. So I want the dogs to get out of the way and be quiet. So I usually use the term okay, like say the name of the dogs, or just voice to all the dogs, okay, leave it. And then leave it means stop the barking, or it could mean stop the barking and it's followed by another request, say leave it, okay, be quiet for now, and then come. So I quite often will ask them to come inside the house, and they close the door and go outside, especially if I need to open the gate. The last I need is 3 dogs trying to get out and go have a little meet and greet with that delivery person. So I would recall into the house, and to teach that at the beginning, it's always good to have treats on hand, to have, my dogs all work for kibble, they love to eat so much. I can take the most basic, I have premium kibble for them, so let's not say the most basic, but I can take kibble, I can take parts of their meal. For training, I might have that in my pouch, in my pants pouch, or in my whatever I have on me, pouch somewhere, pocket somewhere. I have some pieces of kibble usually. I ask them come inside the house, everyone gets a piece of kibble, I close the door, I go outside again. Now I still sometimes do that intermittently because we want to keep reinforcing what we want our dogs to do. For a job well done, we'd like to be paid as well as humans, right? So why not pay our dogs? So I like giving treats. I might even give like commercial treats, a few of those, because they got quite a high calorie count, but sometimes I like giving them for, say, an extra good recall, an extra speedy recall, or a recall from something that has triggered my dogs into barking for ages before, such as used to be wild horses galloping past the fence line and all around our property until they moved off to a different location, so they can start there, come here, go over there along the road. So they'd be covering like most of our fence line, almost running around the whole property. So that barking would continue for 5 minutes when we first moved here, because the dogs thought, oh my god, that's like an army of horses invading our space trying to get us. Now they understand this is not the case. The horses just literally move from one location in the woods to another, depending on, I mean, they're migratory animals also. We have to keep that in mind. They like to, during the day, graze somewhere, then move on, graze there, move on, graze over there, move on, graze over here. So now they bark a bit and then they come right away back. So for an extra flashy recall, or in that, or when they first responded to the recall at all, because at the very beginning they didn't, when they over threshold, when they over aroused, like overly concerned in human terms, they would not come. Now they come, and I give the occasional high value treat, or I may have some, if you have a dog that has no strong food drive, that is a picky eater, it pays off to have some extra valuable treats, like the infamous hot dog, pieces of hot dog in your treat pouch that you carry somewhere on your person, or in a little plastic bag in your pocket, so you don't stain your pocket with fat stains, obviously. You might do that. Or if you have a toy-driven dog, like our German Shepherd used to be, you can show their favorite toy for them, or play a little bit of tag for a minute or so when they do an extra good recall. So that's the one thing. Leave it to mean, okay, look at me and stop what you're doing. Basically, that's the meaning of leave it. I like to use the leave it, teaching the leave it, look at me combo that Zach George coined that term of the leave it, look at me combo, and it's quite a neat skill. So to my dogs, leave it automatically means stop what you're doing and look at me. So I already have the contact, the focus with the leave it. And that also implies stop the barking, right? Stop barking, look at me, I might give further instruction. So that is one way to curb barking, but if you don't follow it up with something more long term, say, your dog could go right back to barking, especially if the trigger, maybe the people on the fence line, they're still walking calmly along ever so slowly, right? in our perspective, because we just want them to be gone and the dogs to stop barking. So what you could do in such cases, Or in the cases that the mailman is coming, or you might need to sign a slip of paper, or you might need to have a conversation or to have a financial transaction upon reception of something. It takes a bit of time. You don't just want to leave it, look at me, because your dog is still going to be in the way, essentially. You want to direct them to, ideally in these instances, go to their place. Say you have a place board or a dog bed or a crate in your living room, and you're in front of your door, opening the door, hopefully with a securing mechanism so the dog can't run out of the door and go bite the person or run out into the street. So there's these little devices you can hook onto your door to let them give a barrier when you open the front door, a dog barrier. So it's like a netting, so the dog can't barge out. That's what I highly recommend too. So if you have these situations, ding dong, the doorbell goes, dog barks, you say, okay, thanks for barking, thanks for letting me know, and then, okay, leave it. Then leave it, look at me, and then go to your place. Now, how to teach that would be too much for this video that I still am hoping keeping under 30 minutes. But you can follow the steps. So leave it, look at me, and then go to your place. Once you've taught that before independently without distractions first. So then you have a dog that's conditioned and habituated after however many reps it takes to go to their place and assume a nice stay on their place board or on their place mat or their cushion, whatever it may be, whilst you are dealing with whatever you're dealing with on the front door, or whilst that person is finishing their slow parade past your fence line and has disappeared again, for instance. I actually quite like this. I don't use it where we currently live. There is no purpose in that, because we have so few people even walking past the fence line. It's mostly wild animals, half wild cows, or domestic cows being walked by farmers, and it's not a big deal if dogs bark for a little bit. But if for any reason I want them to stop, either I want to have a conversation or I want to just be polite. I'm out there in the garden doing something, someone's walking, I say hi, and I want to be polite, so I recall the dogs, I show them a few treats, and by the time they sniffed out those treats on the grass, the person's already gone, so that's fine. But if you live in a suburban area or in an apartment building, the better way is to keep the barking at a few barks and, okay, thank you, leave it, look at me, or just with time you'll be able to, okay, and the dog automatically will look at you, because they know they've been habituated now to perform the leave it, be quiet, look at me, make eye contact, and expect what's going to happen next. So the default, what's going to happen next, could be go to your place. And I taught that to the dogs that we had when we lived in apartments in a city, in an apartment block with a German Shepherd and a medium-sized rescue dog, hunting dog. So that's also no problem. So then both dogs would go to their respective dog beds, and they would assume a nice downstay there, and they would just observe what I'm doing in the front door. If the person needed to come in, was a technician, needed to do some repairs, they could, and my dogs were so good at it that we had several technicians who had to fix this or fix that. Coming in, they did not notice the dogs lying in a corner on their beds, and suddenly they turn around, see the dog, they literally jumped because and then the dogs jumped. It's like, oh my god, what's going on here? But those particular dogs were extremely inoffensive to people, very docile. Otherwise I would not have done that. I would never do this with my Estrella. The Estrella, the current guard dog, she always goes away if people come in, unless it's the vets, then she gets her muzzle on, her leash on, and then the vet does her thing, and I keep the dog in position whilst the vet puts the jabs in or does the yearly checkup, for example. Otherwise she goes in a separate part of the house and the door is locked, and she is there to keep everyone safe, because she is a functioning guard dog and not fond of strangers on her property. So there's that. But back to the barking. So yeah, the number one thing I would recommend is giving your dog something else to do, a positive, constructive alternative to the barking. This could be recall, and maybe do a sit stay in front of you. Say, okay, person's at the fence, person's at the door, someone else is taking care of matters, someone else is attending the door, for example. Your dog stays with you in front position in a sit stay, or you ask them to come to heel and they stay in that position. You periodically reward with treats, at the beginning more, then as time moves on less frequently, and building these new habits. Or if you're alone in the house, you need to take care of matters, it's okay, thank you for barking, letting me know, leave it, look at me. Or with time you won't even need that, it's only the beginning stages of reconditioning, and then go to your place. Then if that place is a crate, or if you need your dog to go to a crate, you can condition the term crate as well. Go to your crate, dog goes in, you throw treats in there, ideally if you have them on your person. If you don't, it doesn't matter for a few reps. If you're caught off guard, your dog will be so habituated to doing the workflow, if you will. It doesn't matter, you don't need to reward every single time with food or toys. The dog goes in the crate, you close the door, especially if you have a bigger dog, or a dog that's maybe aggressive, reactive in their behaviors to strangers in the house, in the apartment, which is completely natural, nothing wrong with that. Your dog is not bad, is not too aggressive, is not a liability. You just need to manage the situation. Put them in the crate, it's okay. Not every dog loves strangers in their apartment. Not every person either, right? I don't either. I wouldn't want someone just to barge in here and like, what the heck's that person doing here, you know? Unless I know very clearly that my partner and me, we invited them, it's okay for them to be here, so we understand that, but we can't explain that to our dogs. How do you want to tell them that this electrician is only going to fix the light bulb or make the heater work again, which is good for all of us? You can, to a point you can, by what I do is to take the anxiety away from any dog that has fear of strangers in the house, for example. Not aggression, don't risk the life and health of anyone coming to your house, please, you guys out there. But if a dog is fearful, for example, what can help is you make a point of being extra cheerful and cordial and welcoming to the person. Your electrician will thank you for the nice welcome, no doubt. Especially if it's a friend, you can give them a hug, handshake to whoever's coming in. Nice handshake. How are you doing? So good that you're here. Oh, wonderful. Just make your voice be and your body language be the messengers to put your dog at ease, because they see, oh, mom or dad likes that person, so must be good, must be not too bad, right? And then if your dog is afraid of strangers, ask the person coming in to just ignore the dog. It's very Caesar Milanish, I know, no touch, no talk, no eye contact, but it does help a lot with fearful dogs. So what else on excessive barking? I think I've covered actually everything that I was going to cover. I bet you there's more things, and we can discuss in the group. Once again, join my support group for dog owners, Force Free, on Facebook. I'll link it below in a pinned comment. That we can speak about your dog and the specific excessive barking issue you have with your dog in more detail, especially if it's barking that is happening when you are not there. Say you live in an apartment, you have a dog with severe separation anxiety, now they're in the crate whilst you're going shopping, or whilst you're doing maybe part-time work, or hopefully not a full day of work, because then I'd recommend other solutions. But whatever your situation is, there's always a force-free solution available. And I'm not saying this lightly. I used to be as deeply entrenched in the balanced training community as possible. I used to be a Schutzhund, IPG, for people who never heard of that, like a layman's terms protection dog trainer, and used to prepare dogs for confirmation trials, better known as dog shows, German Shepherds in particular, as well as assist a local dog trainer in his dog school, training pet dogs and training dogs for Frenching, especially Malinois, Shepherds, German Shepherds, Dutch Shepherds, all that high-level working dogs, boxers, but also pet dogs, puppies, puppy trainings and everything. So I used to be a balance trainer. Now I done more research and embraced the force-free communities credo, if you will, but it's not only that, it's I've just read about this yesterday. 26 organizations in the world, leading organizations in the field of animal behavior, animal welfare, slash canine behavior, canine welfare, are actually on the same page as the it's a mouthful, AFSAP. Look up Zach George, listen to his videos, he knows all about this. He lists all the sources of the AFSAP 2021 position statement and the associated associations, that support it around the world. So, short summary of that. We have worldwide international scientific consensus that pain and fear have no place in professional dog training, and that aversives should not, quoting from the AFSAP 2021 position statement, aversives should not be used for any and all situations of dog training and behavior modifications. So that's where I stand today. That's what I advocate today. I have an enormous respect from people like Zach George, Victoria Stilwell, Shay Kelly, Linda Michaels, who are with the Do No Harm dog training movement, who are out there strongly promoting this outdatedness of compulsion-based training / balance training, which is a combination of compulsion and positive reinforcement training. I subscribe to that, again, because of scientific consensus, because there's a whole scientific community of veterinary behaviorists and applied animal behaviorists, behavioral scientists. Behind that, it's not just the following of Victoria Stilwell or Shay Kelly or Zach George or Linda Michaels. It's the whole community worldwide, and since I've seen that clearly for myself, that's where I stand, that's what I stand for, and I want to make this very clear in these videos, because this video will be titled something about like how to stop barking or preventing excessive barking, and I don't want people to fall victim to the propaganda, if you will, that there is just these shortcuts. You just put an e-collar on a dog, or a bark collar with electroshock on a dog, and it'll stop it. Yeah, it might stop it, but do you have any idea about what it causes, what side effect this causes? Well, the AFSAP, like animal behaviorist organizations around the world, I should say, English, in animal behaviorist organizations, behavioral scientist organizations targeted on animals and / on dogs, have the consensus that shocking dogs, causing pain and fear via stims from e-collars, aversive levels on e-collars, let's be clear on that, to stop barking, because a little bit of a level 1 stim and a level 1 to 100 e-collar unit will not stop barking. It probably won't be felt by the dog, to be honest. But aversive use of these tools, a bark collar, which has no unaversive use, if you know what I mean. It's designed to cause pain and discomfort, as well as high levels on the e-collar, as well as prong collar corrections via leash pops to stop barking. All these things might stop the barking, but side effects are scientifically proven of such methods, and they include increased anxiety, stress, like cortisol release, adrenaline release in the system of the dog, anxiety, stress, pain and fear, obviously, as well as aggression. and a loss of trust to the owner, so a breakdown in the dog-human bond, which is very dramatic and traumatic for the dog. If you have a dog that's sensitive, you might ruin a dog for life in certain aspects, as in they might now associate the crate or you leaving the house with getting this painful stimulus delivered by these metal probes digging into their necks. I mean, I leave it open to your guys' imagination how unpleasant that must be. So please, 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 don't take my word for it. Do your own research on the side effects of aversive methods. There's a lot of articles and videos out there on the internet about this, and take the time to condition your dog properly. I know it's difficult if you live in an apartment setting and your neighbors are complaining, your dog is barking, but there are workarounds. And to further dive into these workarounds, I need to speak much longer on this video. It's already over 30 minutes, oh my god. So I need to wrap it up. And we can speak again in my Facebook group in more detail about this. Okay, love you guys. Thank you for watching and listening, and talk to you soon. Bye.